So, I hear we're into some of the same stuff.
You're about to join Jon
And Eric.
as we explore said stuff.
Really bad movies. Sega Genesis.
Sports and girls. The interesting aspects of pop culture.
And we'll answer listeners' mail because you have so much to say.
You are listening to
A sophisticated conversation.
Greetings and welcome to the third episode of
Number
Podcast
three.
Revolution.
Number
Eric, if you stop.
Number 3.
Eric, please stop talking over me. Thank you. We're trying to put on a show here, as you know.
I'm just happy it's number 3.
You are? Yeah, I didn't think we'd last this long.
It's my favorite number. Of course we'd last this long.
Why 3 your favorite number, Eric?
It was always my number. I don't know why. Ever since I was like 12, my first soccer jersey had 3 on it, and pretty much everything I have has number 3 on it. And it's my favorite. And I buy a lot of things in 3.
Oh, yeah?
Like scratch tickets. I buy those in 3.
Do you like when celebrities die in 3?
Well, yeah, I guess so. Let's see. Gary Coleman recently died.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Oh,
Dennis Hopper. And the guy from Slipknot. If that counts.
Does that count? I guess.
I don't know. Or that woman from Golden Girls died.
That's like
The
saying
woman from Golden Girls.
which woman?
I don't know. The one that wasn't Betty White.
Oh, so that's the only one I do know.
Yeah.
But saying the guy from Slipknot died, that's like saying like the guy down the street died. Like, does anyone like know him?
Right, and speaking of deaths in 3s, did I tell you how Ed McMahon died, then Farrah Fawcett, then Michael Jackson, and then leave it to Billy Mays to throw in a 4th one for free?
Oh, too soon?
No, I did it the day after.
Too soon,
That was
everybody?
soon.
Oh, well, this is a very special podcast because normally we kind of go pretty much live through the whole thing, like a live radio show, and we really don't make any stops or anything, just kind of keep it flowing, which is really fun. But tonight's
very special.
Tonight's very special. As you know, I've been talking a while about the movie The Human Centipede.
Yeah, he won't shut up about it, and he's never even seen it.
Well, it's legendary, and I even recommended people see it, even
that
though
is
I
true.
haven't seen it yet. That's how ridiculous I want to see this movie. My coworkers have described it as disturbing and very interesting, but not in like disturbing like the movie Saw or Hostel. Just kind of
Yeah, a little
it's interesting.
off kilter.
Yeah, and those who don't know, The Human Centipede, it's an independent film that came out, I think, like maybe a year ago. It's actually a horror.
No, it just came out.
Did it just? Well,
It was filmed before,
Well, yeah,
but it's wide release.
and it was released at a bunch of different film festivals, and I guess it got some pretty ridiculous reactions from the moviegoers. It's kind of become almost like a cult film already, even though it hasn't been out long. And they're one of the first movies to do this. They released it in theaters at a bunch of indie movie houses and on demand
On the same day.
on the same day. So we'll be watching that in about 20-25 minutes. We're going to be watching that one.
Less than that.
Probably less than that. So we're pretty excited. So we're gonna do a beginning of the podcast, take a break, gonna go watch the movie, and then rather than wait a day or two and come back, we're gonna have it fresh on our minds and be able to dissect this ridiculous movie.
So before we get into that, we'll just do some administrative things.
Oh, okay.
And Eric, some people have been talking to me and they said they like the podcast, but they think it's too long. How do you react to that?
Okay, we did take that to heart. As you know, we are a little new to this experience, but we're also very good at it, I think. So we have cut it down quite a bit, and this is actually good. Rather than doing podcasts that are like an hour and a half in length, we're going to try and do like 2 45 minutes to an hour podcasts, which I think is good because that's perfect for like someone who commutes. Usually you can listen to
Right.
half of it on the way up,
Some people like 5-minute podcasts, but you know what? I think our audience is better than that.
Yeah, that's too
Your
short.
attention span is pretty good.
5
I have
minutes.
faith in you guys.
Yeah, that's...
All right,
yeah.
prove me wrong. Prove me right. and let me know that you approve of this.
Yeah.
And if you don't, well, I can suggest plenty of podcasts to you.
Yeah, and so also another great administrative news is that we do have a new website coming up soon. It's the same website, but we're going to have a whole updated, some logos we got going on. It looks really great. You want to talk a little bit about the logo and the new site coming along?
Well, our friend Peter, by the time you're listening to this, you've probably seen our new logo, which should be coming up on iTunes and other software, and on our website, designed by the legendary Peter R. Horton. We can't thank you enough, Peter. Thank you for your good work and for your positive feedback.
Another quick thing before we dive into this, the meat and potatoes of this podcast, is we do have sponsors as well, which is pretty cool. So if you want a shout out for your business, or if you whatever, just let us know. I mean, it's really not a problem. Give us like 10 cents, or hell, if you want to come into the studio and join our podcast.
If you bake cakes and you bring us a cake, we'll discuss that cake at length.
Right. Actually, John was hoping it would be a stripper, but cake baker, that worked. So.
Or both at once.
I like that. That's a good point. So,
stripper coming out of a cake.
I like that. So again, if you know anyone or want to be a part of the show with your business or need a shout out, whatever, let us know.
And by the way, whenever we advertise a business, when we do it in our normal voices, it's a real business. And we do it in funny voices, it is a real business, but it's a banner ad on our site. So we're giving them some love too.
We treat our banner ads with respect.
Hey, we're giving them attention and bringing them to the forefront.
That's how we do it in the 603. So, John, you want to start out with a listener mail that we got?
No, I don't.
Okay, I guess not.
No.
How are we starting this?
I don't know. We're just talking right now.
Well, the folks want some interaction, all right?
They'll get their interaction.
Okay, very well.
And there's only one listener mail anyways, so she can wait.
And it's not from our moms either, so
no.
That's good news. But back to the Human Centipede. Again, for those who don't know, this movie is just going to be ridiculous.
Well, maybe we should just watch it first and then talk about it.
We will, but I just want to give the synopsis so that when we dive into it, people know what we're talking about.
Well, that's why we'll explain it while we're talking about it.
Okay, then, John, I don't know what we're going to talk about then.
I don't know.
Other than the Celtics absolutely blowing it last night, but you hate basketball, so you could care less. So
I do care very much. It makes me very happy.
Another cool event in the sporting world was Steven Strasburg of the Washington Nationals. He was a number 1 draft pick last year. He's projected to be just could be a next big pitcher, I guess, kind of.
Yeah, the next Clemens.
The next big thing. But anyways, in his debut game, he had 14 strikeouts,
almost a record,
7 innings, and I think he only threw like 94 pitches.
Yeah, he was on a strict pitch count,
which is ridiculous. So, that's pretty incredible for guy's first game for a debut. I don't know if that's a record. Is that a record?
15 is the record.
15 is the record. Who had that? Do you know?
I don't know. I did in a video game.
Okay, well, he almost beat John's record.
No, some guy.
Some guy.
I don't know. I'm not a baseball statistician. Go to Elias Sports Bureau if you want to find out.
That stuff is ridiculous. It's like last night, they're like, during the Celtics game, the stats they bring up, it's like in the second quarter with 3 minutes trailing, Kobe Bryant is like 27-4 in the NBA Finals all time. It's like...
Now, there's some real nerds who get into that.
How do they do that? It absolutely
dedication.
surprises me.
It's that... More dedicated than we are to this podcast is what those people are to their sports.
Oh, man. Kind of like...
It's funny, the people who know the most about their sports are the ones who have absolutely no ability in playing it.
You trying to tell me something, John?
You're not a sports analyst. Do you have another job that I don't know about?
No, I know what you mean. All the sabermetrics dorks and all those guys. Yeah, actually, it's kind of funny because at Harvard and MIT now, you can actually take, statisticians courses pretty much. But
we're getting a live instant message from Peter right now.
What's he saying?
I don't know. You talk. I'll talk to Peter.
Oh, okay.
No, talk.
What am I supposed to say while you're
talking?
Just talk to myself? Okay, yeah, I do that all the time. Well, while John's being an idiot, I guess one thing I can do is one of our great sponsors, Paw to Paw Promise. Paw to Paw Promise. paw2pawpromise.com. Check them out. If you are in the southern New Hampshire, Boston area, if you, rather than putting your dog in a kennel where they can get kennel cough and get diseases
and just stressed out and lonely.
And just stressed out and lonely.
Like Eric is.
Pretty much. If you don't want your animal to be like me, call Paw to Paw Promise. And you want to tell them a little bit about what they do?
Well, they'll do walks for the dogs. They'll feed them. They'll take them out. Well, that's what a walk is. And just hang out with the dog for a few hours, give them some company, and do sleepovers. So it's kind of like house sitting too, all in one price. So if you want to visit, check out Paw to Paw Promise, PAWTOPAWPROMISE. See, I spelled it this week.
Okay.
pawtopawpromise.com, and yeah.
Okay.
Follow the links from there.
And there is our first shameless radio plug of the show, and I also screwed it up in the beginning by saying cause, but that's all good. So I guess what I will talk about, since John is typing and being an idiot, would be how about
Idiot. What?
What? You're not even paying. Our fans are trying to listen to the show, and you're
I'm talking to Peter. He's instrumental to our how we're viewed.
Why? What's he saying?
He's talking about the album art.
Oh.
Yeah. This is business related.
Oh, okay.
It's not like I'm texting on my phone. Yeah.
I don't do that.
No. You just eat popcorn.
In other news.
Oh, by the way, this is another administrative thing that our intern Frenchie legitimately pointed out. He did. Is that in the first podcast we made an error, and I need to fess up and be a man and stand up for it. I was talking about Michael Jordan's statue and how there was a jersey on it, and I erroneously said that it was a Patrick Tays jersey. There's no such player named Patrick Tays. It was Jonathan Tays' jersey.
Oh.
It's Patrick Kane who's on the team.
I guess our intern is valuable, I suppose.
He is. He did his part. And he will be on here sometime soon, and he has an important announcement that he is saving exclusively for the podcast.
Does it involve a hockey player on
Toronto?
It
might.
Okay, I won't give it away. Our intern, he believes that he is... What should we say? Maybe, I don't want to give it away, but let's just say he thinks he's a little more ballsier.
Well, if you've been listening to the podcast since the beginning, way back then, you'll know what we're talking about.
Right, so stay tuned for that. So how are we almost ready to start the Human Centipede? I mean, let's...
I'd say we're just about ready.
All right, folks. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to go watch the Human Centipede. It's about an hour and a half long movie. So in our time, we're going to be back in an hour and a half. In your time as a listener, we'll be back in about like 2 seconds.
About a minute and a half. Enjoy this preview or commercial from our lovely sponsor.
Tired of doing nothing every night? How about watching movies? That's right, Netflix, only $9.95 a month, and you can stream it on a Wii now, or an Xbox. It's great fun, right, John? Mm-hmm. Netflix, movies, streaming, $9.95 a month.
Rock and roll! Ow! Yes. All right, folks, you've been waiting a long time for this, and Eric's been waiting a long time for this too.
Oh, about 3 weeks I've been waiting to see the Human Centipede, and we finally watched it. And, wow.
It was pretty much what you expected it to be.
It's pretty much everything I expected it to be. Very ridiculous. Really, I don't even know. It's very hard to describe without analyzing it. What did you think of the Human Centipede, John?
Well, I'd say it was based on the previews that I saw, and the concept was ridiculous. The title of the movie pretty much says it all, and it delivers what it promises.
This movie's insane. The opening scene, it's pretty much this the main surgeon, the doctor guy, who pretty much the gist of the movie is these two girls. They're two American girls from New York. They're quite skanky to say the least. And
they're out looking for a club in Europe, and they get lost in the middle of a forest.
Yeah, they're out looking. Yeah,
for a dance club.
They're trying to find a dance club. Like they're in like dresses and like heels and stuff, and kind of all dolled up and stuff. And they they're trying to find a club. They have a rental car, but somehow they're in the middle of the forest in Germany. Like, you'd think they'd be in, like, Munich or some city or, like, Berlin or something. But no, they're literally in the middle of nowhere, just driving around looking for a club. Their car breaks down, and so they see a house. So naturally, they go inside. The guy who owns the home is... How would you describe him, John?
I'd say he looks like Christopher Walken and acts like a total creep.
Yeah,
And,
he's this creepy German
like,
surgeon.
imagine Christopher Walken just walking around and acting like a total lunatic.
Yeah, pretty much. And so they go in his house, and his house is the most freakish thing in the like.
No, the house is a pretty nice house.
Oh, it's a nice house,
but his paintings and his
his
decorations,
his paintings,
Siamese
decorations,
twins, and
it's just like fetuses conjoined, just like a huge mural of his. It's really creepy. And so the guy, he's like, "You guys want water?" And he gets them water, and he puts roofies in them. And these girls were just stupid, just naturally start drinking the water, get drugged, and eventually they go into the basement. The creepy surgeon,
and then there's a trucker guy that's down in the surgeon also from the very first scene that the guy kidnaps. But then for some reason he decides that the guy doesn't match whatever.
They don't match. They can't make a human centipede.
I don't know what he doesn't
guy.
match.
So they kill him.
I don't know what characteristic he's missing, but then he kills him and gives him a very proper burial.
So pretty much the surgeon, he's the evil guy. Apparently, the little bit of backstory they tell you is that apparently he was one of the world's best like Siamese twin separators in the world, and I guess he's obsessed now. He wanted to make a human
instead of destroying Siamese.
Yeah, he wants to bring them together.
Yeah.
So he makes a Siamese triplet in which he takes the ligaments out of the knees and joins it at the mouth and the butt,
the anus,
the anus, and makes a connection between three people, so they're like a centipede.
Yes.
Thus the title, the Human Centipede. And so
that makes defecating very difficult.
Yes. So they make the human so he drugs them, he gets them ready, he explains to the two girls what's going on. One of the girls escapes, and he brings home another tourist. And then he gets the girl back. So then there's three of them, and he goes through the surgery and he unveils the Human Centipede, and you have these. Oh, there's the guy in the front was a Japanese tourist, so he's in the front of the centipede. So he's probably the luckiest because his mouth isn't joined.
Yeah, he didn't have any feces going through him.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have one of the girls in the middle, one of the girls in the back, and the guy, the doctor, is insane. He treats them like a dog. He makes them like fetch.
I don't know what the point of having Human Centipede is.
The one thing John thought up, like we kind of thought it would be like a horror movie with some kind of like plot. There really was no plot.
There's no point to this movie.
No point.
Nothing happened except what you saw in the commercials. That's what happened.
There was no climax. There was no building up. There was no nothing.
Real first, second, third act. It was just
the guy wants to make a human centipede, and
then
he does it. He does it.
All right, so without discussing more plot, let's just talk about how you felt about the movie. I don't want to spoil too much for them.
It's funny because some of my coworkers already saw the Human Centipede. They told me it was hilarious, which I agree. And they just said they make it out to be like a horror movie, and that's what I was expecting, like a scary movie, crazy doctor. Like they have
the
to.
previews made it look scary because it showed her running away and the guy smashing the window.
So
I thought that would be the whole movie.
You think it's like a suspense thriller, scary, cheesy horror movie?
And that was about 4 minutes.
It really was. Yeah, it really was no point. It was just kind of a lot of ridiculous cinema, is what it was. I mean, who would think up of Siamese triplets where they're joined mouth to anus, three people? It's just ridiculous. I mean, it was hilarious, the movie, because it looks goofy, and if you get to see when they actually unveil the Human Centipede, I mean, it was pretty funny.
The thing that bothers me about this movie is that when they were filming it, they had to know it was ridiculous, and that's one thing that I have to take away from this, is that I can't appreciate how bad it is because I know that's kind of what they were going for.
Well, the funny thing,
the way to appreciate a bad movie is when it was intentionally, or when when it was not intentionally bad.
Right, like The Room.
Like
for
The Room,
example.
right.
Yeah, because that one was supposed to be good, but it was so bad, so that makes it funny. But this one, you can just tell, I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, I really don't know what to
say. The main
say.
surgeon, I mean, he was creepy, and his acting was odd, but I think that's what he was going for, and he pulled it off too well.
The acting by the two females were...
That was pretty poor.
That was pretty poor, so it's kind of funny. Like, I think one of the funniest scenes in the movie is when, again, they're supposed to be going to a club, but they're in, like, a Bavarian forest. Like, literally, like it looks like Robin Hood or something. They're just in the middle of the woods.
And they've been walking for an hour.
And she just screams and flips out. It's just like,
and the girls,
acting.
The girl's complaining that they need to get back to the car, and her solution to not do it is to just stand there. She refuses to move.
And then the German guy, there was another guy who drove up in a car. He was saying creepy and demeaning things to the girls, but I don't know. If I'm in the middle of a Bavarian forest, I'm lost. I mean, I'm going to take my chances and maybe get in the guy's car. I mean, I'd rather be in a stranger's car than be in a stranger's home. I mean, I feel like a lot more can go wrong, like a human centipede. I mean,
well, in a car, someone could take you away. In a house, you think the person might have a house that big? You don't know. Well, you think it's more of a home environment.
Speaking of wives, when the two women in the movie, when they went into the crazy creepy doctor's house, one of the first questions they asked him was, "Do you have a wife?" It wasn't his response something like,
"I hate people."
Yeah, he said like, "I hate human beings" or something like that. And when they unveil the human centipede, it's just hilarious. The doctor's like jumping up and down and
he starts making out with himself in a mirror.
Yeah, I mean, it's really creepy. And the one that you gotta feel bad. I mean, obviously it's a movie, but the whole like last 40 minutes of the movie when it's a human centipede, it's just the poor people are just like struggling.
They knew what they were getting into.
I mean,
the actors did.
The guy in the front, he has to go to the bathroom, so he's connected to someone behind him. So that was an interesting.
He felt very bad for them.
That was an interesting scene. And then it ended very, very interesting too. Not
a very Shakespearean ending in the sense that, well, no, we don't want to give it away.
It's a little open. It didn't end on a high note. It didn't end on a low note. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Human Centipede.
It's a disturbing film.
It definitely, I mean, I will admit, as I was building it up and I thought it would be incredible, because if you see the trailer, you just can't stop laughing. It's ridiculous. And I'll admit, I mean, this movie was fun to watch. It really was, but it wasn't up there. Like, I thought The Room was way funnier to watch as far as, you know, horrifically awesome bad movies goes. I would definitely rather watch a bunch of other ones, but, I mean, Human Centipede, it's funny. It's not bad. I mean, it's definitely something you'd watch with a group of people.
This is a movie that if you're doing a marathon of bad movies, you'd include this one.
You would. And what I've heard, too, is this is just the first Human Centipede. I've heard there's also
the title of it is The Human Centipede First Sequence.
Oh, so it looks like there may be another Human Centipede in the works.
There might be.
Oh,
the surgeon guy, he appears to have superhuman abilities to survive. And he gets his neck ripped off by another guy's teeth.
I'm assuming that...
And he survived that.
I'm assuming that the next Human Centipede, there's going to be more than 3 people in it, though. I mean,
you have to hope.
Otherwise, why would you make a sequel?
Or maybe they could combine humans and animals.
That's right. In the opening part of the movie, there was a human... Well, not human, but there was a dog centipede with Rottweilers.
The Reihund.
Yeah. So, definitely, I mean, Human Centipede, if you're into you want to watch a funny, bad movie, it's definitely up there. It's hilarious.
So what's your rating for this movie, Eric, on your entertainment scale?
On an entertainment scale, I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. It definitely didn't meet my expectations as far as, like, a fun, bad movie to watch, but it's still, I mean, I definitely recommend it. It's hilarious. There's some parts that are ridiculous and are very funny, so if you're into that, I would check it out. If you are on the fence of seeing horrifically awesome bad movies, I'd recommend other ones to start off with. So what do you think?
Well, basically, I have to rate every movie against Troll 2, and this doesn't live up to the standards set by that masterpiece. but for modern day cinema, I'd have to give it 3.5 out of 5 stars.
What I will say is I think it's pretty cool that they did release it both in indie house theaters and on demand at the same time. I think that's pretty cool, to be honest with you.
That could be revolutionary, but I mean, if it was a bigger movie, it would have a much bigger
Oh
impact.
God,
to the
I
industry.
mean, it's definitely.
I don't think
Centipede,
this is going to have a huge industry impact.
Not at all. But just the thought of it's kind of cool. I think that's neat. I think it's cool when people use different ways of promoting films, and the film industry needs it. I mean, the film industry really is. I mean, I understand you have movies like Avatar that was recently successful, but I mean, for a while it's been kind of a struggling industry as far as people aren't seeing as movies as much as they used to, just because there's DVDs that are cheap and affordable. You can buy. There's Netflix.
Still, the movie industries don't mind that. They still make money with DVDs and Netflix. It's movie pirating that's killing them.
Right.
But you have to think most of the pirates are in other countries where they don't have access to what we have for buying things.
Right.
Like
they have to also like sail the Caribbean and drink rum.
I'm sure they do.
Okay.
I think we're talking about different kinds of pirates.
Okay.
But I don't want to get into that conversation right now about pirates. Either kind of pirate.
Who would win, a pirate or a ninja?
Pirate or a ninja?
Yeah.
A Ninja Turtle, most likely.
Okay, I like that answer. I agree. So definitely Human Centipede. Again, if you're you like watching funny bad movies, I definitely think you'll enjoy it, hands down. If you're not really into that, I don't think you would enjoy Human Centipede.
But if you prefer funny movies that try to have a plot and just fail miserably, maybe this isn't for you. Because it does what it wants to do. It doesn't fail. It just is an odd journey.
So I'd say that's really our bad movie of this podcast review. I haven't really seen a good movie in a while. I'm trying to think. Have you?
Well, I saw Splice last week, as I was saying.
Yeah,
that was okay.
That was okay. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I've seen recently as far as good movies. You know what? It's kind of depressing because usually every summer I have a list of about... Like, I love going to the movies. It is one of my favorite things in the world.
It's a great experience.
When I was in college, I probably went about 40 times. Like, I just love going. I love the popcorn. I think it's fun. It's a good Saturday afternoon or even Friday night type of thing, in my opinion. It's just, it's cool.
Even with big screen TVs, you can't replicate it at
home.
home.
No, you can't. It's fun. And even if it's a movie I have no interest in seeing. I mean, unless it's something like Sex and the City 2 and has, like, that horse, Sarah Jessica Parker. Why the long face, Sarah? But even, I won't see that. But, I mean, I'll see pretty much anything in theaters. But there really is nothing this summer I am looking forward to as far as movies. I can't name like one movie this summer. Like, I haven't seen a movie in a while.
Now there's some good ones coming out, just not good enough that I can think of them off the top of my head.
Right. Like the last movie I saw in theater, I saw Robin Hood about 4 weeks ago.
Was it that long that it came out?
Yeah, it was a while. Definitely Robin Hood. That was an interesting movie. I thought it had like all the guys from Gladiator in it, and has the same director, a lot of the same people. So I kind of went in with really high expectations, and I think a lot of people did with this movie because it's getting not like bad reviews, but not really good either. And I definitely say it's like a solid 6.5 or 7 out of 10.
Okay, shut up for a second. I just remembered what movie I want to see this summer.
What do you want to say?
Inception.
Oh, is that
directed by
Leo
Christopher
movie?
Nolan, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, who's a favorite of ours, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, another favorite.
Yeah.
And Christopher Nolan, who's famous for Batman.
Oh, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's Leo's assistant.
There's a lot of good actors in that movie. Yeah, I mean, let's see what's coming up here. I mean, right now in theaters, Get Him to the Greek, I really have no interest in seeing that. Karate Kid remake, I refuse. Absolutely refuse. They should call it the Kung Fu Kid, first of all, because it's in China, not Japan. And then, second of all, the Karate Kid, I mean... That's like making extra Star Wars movies. Oh, wait, that happened. Karate Kid is... I mean, come on, that's a great movie, and I love that movie as a kid. And I just think remaking it... I mean, as much as I love Will Smith, I don't really like his kid that much. So, I mean, I really will not see that one. Like, let's see what else we got. A-Team... No.
Gangsta's Paradise, Grown Ups, which we've
Grown Ups. What I think is funny about Grown Ups is It's like you feel like Chris Farley should probably be in that movie, but oh man, grown-ups. I mean,
Toy Story 3. Oh,
I
Scott
mean,
Pilgrim with your buddy
I'm
Michael
not
Cera.
seeing that. One of my good friends is really into Scott Pilgrim comics, the graphic novels, so he's pumped for that. I really hate Michael Cera so much.
I liked him as George Michael in Arrested Development.
No, he was good in that, but he just plays the same character in all his movies.
He does. I can't deny that.
If you watch like Superbad, I Love You, Beth Cooper. What's that like teenager angry movie? Like
it's like Youth and Revolt.
Youth and Revolt. Like he's all the same guy. Like just call him the same person in each movie and just have him make cameos. I don't care.
Yeah,
but
he pulls off awkward very well, but I mean, he's gonna get typecast. He already has been.
Nick and Nora I hated that movie.
That's
hated
my least favorite of his movies.
It's just like, oh god,
and
I hated that.
Jesse
movie.
Eisenberg's kind of in the same boat. The guy from Zombieland, the main character.
Oh yeah.
So in every movie he's in, he's kind of awkward.
He's not as annoying.
He's a more sophisticated awkward.
Yeah, he's not as annoying as Michael Cera. I heard there was a rumor with Scott Pilgrim during like the casting, like I guess Michael Cera went in and started playing his part to be Scott Pilgrim. And I heard they're like, "Oh, you're doing good, but stop being Michael Cera." He's just like acting the same way, pretty much.
Yeah.
So that was a rumor I read online. Whether it's true or not, who knows? But either way, I think that's a good point.
He can't pull
off
off
the same guy.
He can't pull off awkward teenager for very long. I mean, he's gonna get older.
Right. Like one reason.
What happened to Topher Grace?
That's a good point too. But I mean, one reason why I think like Leonardo DiCaprio is probably one of the best actors of our, not so much our generation, but of this Hollywood era right now, is he's so versatile. He can play a lot of different roles and does a pretty good job. I mean,
he's convincing.
He's been in all sorts of movies, from action to more of your independent kind of thinking film. He's been in really everything. And
yeah, today I was listening to the Slash Filmcast review of Shutter Island, and Slash Filmcast is another podcast that we highly recommend.
Yep.
And they were talking about how good he is in that, and I mean, I've seen that movie. He's convincing, and when you watch the movie a second time, it's a lot funnier. Yeah. And you'll understand why without me spoiling anything.
Yeah, he's a good actor. I'm trying to think, who are some really good actresses too? I don't really.
To go along with the Leo theme, Kate Winslet.
Kate Winslet is good. Okay, I'll give you that. She's very good.
And she finally won Best Actress last year. Leo still hasn't won.
Yeah, he'll probably take him.
A lot of people hate him. There's a lot of anti-Leo sentiment.
Well, I have a feeling all the voting for all that's kind of like
political.
It's kind of like the Baseball Hall of Fame, where it's kind of like if you pissed off the media, like you're not going to get votes type of thing. So I have a feeling it's kind of that too, because you can... You know an actor's good when you can name at least like 10 movies off the top of your head that are very good.
And you know what's interesting, speaking of good actors who aren't really recognized, is, Jack Nicholson says that this actor is the Jack Nicholson of this generation. Who do you think that is?
The Jack Nicholson of this generation?
Yeah.
I honestly have no clue. Who?
Jim Carrey.
Oh, yeah, he's a great actor, too. A lot of people don't realize it, because when he was, really...
They think of Pet Detective.
Yeah, because he blew up in the 90s. I remember, like...
Early 90s.
Early to mid-90s, yeah.
Dumb and Dumber.
He was in everything.
Boom, Boom, Boom.
Yeah, so, I mean, Liar, Liar. So, I mean, he kind of got typecasted, too, for a while, because he really didn't get out of that shell until he started doing more, like, dramas and stuff. Yeah. Like, he did The Majestic, right? Wasn't he in that?
Yeah, he did that. Eternal Sunshine, one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, so, I mean, he kind of shed that image once he did that. Now he's in a lot of different type of movies. He was, even in Bruce Almighty, he was kind of, I thought he was good in
He's in a movie coming soon called I Love You, Philip Morris, which is having trouble getting distribution in the U.S. because it's kind of a controversial movie.
Oh, all the legality.
Have you heard of that movie?
What's it about?
It's about him as a family man who commits a crime, goes to jail, and falls in love with his cellmate.
Nice.
So it's apparently the homosexual relationship is making a lot of distributors uncomfortable.
Oh, so they're gonna have to like make edits or something like that.
I think they have made some, but I think they finally found a way someone to pick it up.
I'm assuming Philip Morris is not like the Philip Morris. It's like the name of his cellmate or something.
Right. I think that's the name of the movie.
Yeah.
Or it could be something else.
I think you're right, because I think I heard of that coming out. So maybe that is the movie. We could probably check that, actually.
We should do that pretty soon. But this segment's running a little bit long, and we have a sponsor rearing to be heard.
Okay.
So we'll be back right after this, folks.
So,
You have a big event coming up, huh? And I bet you want to remember it, but you can't afford all those cameramen and picture people who are also cameramen to come down and film it or take pictures. Well, guess what? Polkin Productions can come down and do whatever you need for very cheap. POLKIN Productions.com. Might be a terrible website, but they make good products. Check it out. Yeah. As always here on Podcast Revolution, we love to make you guests feel just at home. So, whenever you send us an email, we honor it by reading it and discussing it. Unfortunately, this week we only got one email, but lucky for you, you're going to get more airtime. So, Eric, why don't you lead this? Read it for us.
Hello, gentlemen. I think you should do a movie review on Frankenfish. It is one of the dumbest. I think she meant dumbest. But we'll stick with dumbest. I like it. All right. Hello, gentlemen. I think you should do a movie review on Frankenfish. It is one of the dumbest, but greatest B movies there is. Also, I wanted to know your opinions on clowns. Don't ask. Keep up the good work, guys. And that's from Minna.
All right, well, thank you, Minna.
Thank you, Minna.
So, what do you want to tackle first?
The first part, Frankenfish. I've actually seen parts of that. I believe that was a sci-fi movie, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It was. I've seen so many sci-fi movies. That's the problem. Like, sci-fi originals, they do a new one, I think, like every Friday at 9. They're like a B movie heaven. If you like horrible, like The Room or like Human Centipede, it's just like you struck the gold mine. Like they hit such a good niche market on that Friday night, 9 o'clock. And Frankenfish, if I remember, I could be completely wrong, but I think that was one of them. I have seen it. I agree, it's very good.
This is a request we might have to honor.
Some other great sci-fi original movies. There was Sand Serpents, which was the same thing as Tremors. There was Transmorphers, which was
I've seen that on
Transformers.
Netflix. That's on Netflix.
Yep. There was Raptor Island, which is like Jurassic Park. So I mean the list goes on. So Minna, I agree with Frankenfish, and any of the sci-fi originals are incredible. Now the second part, she wanted even though she said don't ask, I'm still gonna ask Minna. That's clowns.
I don't know where clowns came from.
I've never understood the fear of clowns. I mean, I understand, like, crazy, creepy-looking, like, insane clown posse, like, strange-looking clowns, I guess, that are, like, angry and scary-looking, okay, but, like...
Pagliacci.
Yeah, but, like a regular, like, Ringling Brothers circus, or, like, at a fair, or, like, a...
Well, they seem like very happy people, but they're actually some of the world's saddest individuals.
Yes, on many levels. I feel bad because I knew a girl in college that actually went to clown school.
Interesting fact, you know that every clown has their face patented? The way they do their makeup, they have they have it set and registered so no one else can look the exact same way they do.
Isn't it like the same thing, like a white face with like a big smile?
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no, okay.
No.
Is there something you want to tell me that you do like in your free time? You're like a clown or something? Like what?
I research clowns.
Oh, okay.
No. I've just heard about it on the grapevine.
Oh, yeah?
We just did some research for this mail.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm okay with clowns. I've never had a problem with them. I mean, there's obviously movies like It, and then there was that episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark when the kid stole the nose off the clown.
But could you ever see yourself being a clown?
Absolutely not.
No.
I don't tend to like to wear makeup, so, it's not really my thing. I mean, with you, I understand why you'd be into that, but not so much me.
Yeah, you're a funny guy.
Yeah, thank you.
I think I'd be a much better mime than clown.
Mimes, I think, are kind of cool, actually. I think it's kind of more fun than a clown, because, like, a clown, the thing I don't get about a clown, it's like, okay, you drive a little car, you can fit, like, 1 million people in it, and you have huge shoes, but, like, what's the point? Like, I never understood the point of a clown. Like, I feel like if I grew up, like, in 18th century, like, Wild West or something, where there's, like, a fair, it'd be more prevalent, but, like, what's the point of a clown today?
Well, clowns entertain kids. I'd rather be a magician and well, they entertain kids too. And some clowns try to blend magician and clown.
Oh, yeah.
And it just gets ridiculous.
And then some clowns, they, like, suck on purpose. Like, they purposely, like, screw up magic tricks and stuff. And I guess some people like that. I guess it's pretty lame. But I guess, I mean, the clown from Are You Afraid of the Dark, did you ever see that episode?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, the kid, I think it was actually Budnick from Salute Your Shorts made a cameo in that episode. They stole the nose off the clown, and then the kid, like, all week got, like, crazy messages that said, like, give back my nose and all this other stuff.
Speaking of clowns, Bozo the clown used to give out fake clown noses at Canopy Lake all the time.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I worked at Canopy, so
Yes,
yeah, I remember
took
that.
a few of those.
Yeah? Do you still have it?
I don't. It ripped in half a long time ago.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm okay with them. What's your thoughts? Are you okay with clowns? They freak you out?
I'm fine with clowns as long as they're on stage. If they're still in their outfit anywhere off stage, it's creepy and unnecessary.
We should get a clown to come in and interview a clown and find out why.
If any clowns out there would like to come in, that excludes you, Frenchie, then feel free. Frenchie, we can still have you on.
I don't know, with clowns, like, I feel like that was more like our parents, and, like, I feel like that's more old school.
So you think your parents are clowns?
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, like, certain things, like, what I'm amazed at today is, like, kids, like, at Christmas, they don't ask for, like, toys anymore. They want, like, cell phones and stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel, like, iPod, like, they don't want normal
Gadgets.
kid stuff.
They want
Yeah.
gadgets.
And I feel like...
They want the same things their parents are playing with.
Yeah, and when we were kids, that wasn't the case. I didn't want any of the crap that my dad wanted. You wanted, like, clowns and stuff. They were adults that were, like, at your level. You know what I mean? like a clown was, like, cool.
I never wanted a clown for Christmas.
Well, I don't mean for Christmas, but, like, it's cool. Like, they, like... You like relate like at a birthday party. You know what I mean. They're more like you get them and they get you. It's like you look at like a clown. It's not like an adult. It's like a clown. You know.
What if a clown came riding in on a horse?
Oh, you mean Sarah Jessica? Someone was on to like piggyback on Sarah Jessica Parker. You mean? But yeah, I mean that to me was like
Sarah Jessica Parker. If you want to come in on the show and defend yourself, by all means.
We won't feed you oats, though. You're gonna have to bring your own. So, but you know, it's just kids today. Like, I feel like they don't want clowns or anything like that. They want like exactly all the same stuff like your parents have. And
I think kids still like Chuck E. Cheese. That's like a mix of clowns and like gadgets.
Do you know Chuck E. Cheese? They wouldn't let me in once. I was maybe like 16 years old.
You have to be 18.
No, but what they told us, like, it was like a group of us. There's maybe like 3 or 4 of us. Like, I think there was like 1 girl, 3 guys. We went out to see like some movie all together in high school, and we went to there's Chuck E. Cheese like right next to the movie theater. We tried to go in, and one, we didn't have a kid, so I think they thought we were like child predators or something.
I can see you as that.
Thanks, John. And then 2, I think it's because you weren't 18 yet either. And I mean, that's kind of weird.
That is weird.
Yeah.
You know what's even weirder? They sell beer at Chuck E. Cheese.
No way.
Yes, they do. They do.
Do they really?
They do. They have beer on tap.
I think I got an idea for your bachelor party, John. Like 15 drunken men come into Chuck E. Cheese without a kid. Why would they serve beer at Chuck E. Cheese?
Look at those parents. They got to have some way to cope with it. It's crazy. You have a birthday party there with 12 kids.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love beer, but there's certain things.
Why do you think most teachers are alcoholics, Eric?
I know. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I love beer, but there's like certain things in life that even though I love beer and hanging out and drinking one, I wouldn't even want one. And I think being in Chuck E. Cheese would be one of those rare exceptions.
I'm sure they have a 2 or 3 beer limit.
Like, I'm pretty sure, like, at a funeral, I probably wouldn't down a drink. I'm pretty sure at Chuck E. Cheese, I wouldn't down a drink. I mean, there's very few scenarios.
Would you down a drink at the circus with a clown?
Sure, why not? But
what if the clown gave you the drink? He went back into his back room and came up front and said, "Have a drink, Eric."
Did you like pull it out of a little like spray bottle and like spray it out of a flower on his pin or something like that?
Sure.
I guess so. I mean, but then again, Human Centipede,
yeah,
how they got drugged was by drinking strange.
Have a drink. It's fun. Just have a sample, and then pull your pants down too.
Okay, now I freaking hate clowns. I absolutely hate them after that voice.
Okay.
Yeah, we're done with clowns.
No more clown talk.
No more clown talk. But big news this weekend. I know many Americans may not follow this as much, but the World Cup is starting this week, which is the largest sporting event in the world.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So England and USA are playing this Saturday. That will be, USA's come a long, long way. Because when we were kids, they didn't even qualify for a lot of the World Cups. I think it wasn't until like 94 I remember USA hosted it. But like, to think we were not even ranked as a top team as little as 15, 20 years ago. And now USA is consistently in the top 20, if not top 15.
Yeah.
In the world. I mean, that's pretty incredible.
It's impressive.
It's very impressive. So that's this weekend. They're playing England. England, obviously, one of the most stacked teams in the World Cup.
Speaking of sports teams that have gone on long droughts, the Chicago Blackhawks are currently leading the Philadelphia Flyers as we speak right now.
Oh, yeah.
3-2 in the final period potentially the final period of the Stanley Cup Finals.
11.5 minutes to go. I really am hoping Chicago wins
Game
this
6.
because I absolutely hate Philly.
I echo that sentiment completely.
Well, anyways, we're probably nearing pretty much the end of our podcast, I'd say.
Pretty close.
So, do you want to get into any books and movies that you recommend to our listeners?
I'd say this week, instead of recommending a Kurt Vonnegut book, because I know that really grinds Eric's gears, I think I'll recommend a book called White Noise by Don DeLillo. One of my favorites.
Was that a movie, too?
The movie has nothing to do with the book. That's a completely different movie. That was a terrible movie with Michael Keaton.
Yeah, wasn't
it has
like
ghosts
horror
and stuff.
movie?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The book has nothing to do with ghosts. It has to do with a guy and his living in contemporary America and dealing with that and fear of death. And
So the movie wasn't based on the
no,
book?
nothing to do with each other.
Common. Okay.
And how about you, Eric?
Well, you
I'll do a book first. I'll
book?
think of a movie while you do a book.
All right, let me think of a book. I guess one book. Here you go. You can make fun of me again for this one. Like how I said, I like Degrassi. One book that was actually very entertaining. I read it about a year and a half, probably about a year and a half ago. Marley and Me. They made it into a movie too. It was entertaining.
Okay, I saw the movie. I liked it.
Obviously, it's actually quite different than the movie. I mean, the premise is the same. It's about the writer. It's a true story. It's pretty much an autobiography about. His name was John Grogan, I think was his name. And he's a writer, actually, for some newspaper. And
yeah, journalist.
Yeah, he's a journalist. And he just writes about pretty much his life. And he gets a yellow lab as when he's starting out his marriage. And the dog is horrendous. So it's a lot of funny stories with his dog. If you like dogs, you'll like it. If you like just
And he uses
funny...
his dog to tell anecdotes about his marriage, which is having difficulties.
Right, yep, and his life. And really, as much as the dog was horrible... and chewed up all his stuff, it really taught him a lot of lessons. So it was really good. I think anyone who owns a dog can relate to it, because I know for us, I had a golden retriever for 12 years, and as much of a pain in the ass as he was, I loved him to death. And there's a lot of things you can learn about a dog that not a lot of people can teach you. I mean, dogs don't judge people. They usually, if it's a friendly dog, they like everybody. So very good. I mean, the movie is... I thought the movie was okay. I mean, obviously, movies are usually never as good as a book for the most part, but it was still good too. So that'll be my book recommendation.
Most girls I know who saw that movie cried.
Yeah, it's funny. I've never...
And a couple of guys I know, like you.
No, I actually didn't cry in the movie, but when I did read the book, I actually cried, which is...
You fairy!
Yeah, and what's crazy, though, is I have never, gotten emotional from reading something, even the sad. I just don't know why. I just kind of read it and absorb it and a little bit, but it never really hits me emotionally. Maybe it's because I read the book a few months after my dog passed away too, so maybe that had a little bit to do with it. But yeah, I mean, I definitely got a little emotional. It was good.
Okay, so since we were talking about Marley and Me, I got thinking about the movie starring Owen Wilson. And I'm not going to recommend that movie, but I will recommend a movie called The Darjeeling Limited that stars Owen Wilson and Adrian Brody, who was recently in Splice. And it's a movie about them traveling in India because their brother, I can't remember, Jason Schwartzman invites them there. No, Owen Wilson invited them. And they're three brothers traveling through India on a train, and they don't know why. But the main reason is because Owen Wilson wants to reunite them with their estranged mother. And they go on a crazy adventure, directed by Wes Anderson.
Good director.
Good director. It's the movie walks a fine line between artsy and funny, and it's a comedy, but it's not really a comedy, and it's an artsy movie, but it's not really artsy.
Kind of like Rushmore or something.
Yeah.
Kind of along the lines of that. Wes Anderson films are kind of all... I mean, I'm not going to pull like a Michael Cera and say they're exactly the same person, same place, but I mean, Wes Anderson films definitely have a distinct feel to them. There's definitely some comedy in it.
If you like Wes Anderson, you'll like this movie.
Yeah, it's more of like a thinking man comedy, I'd say. It's not really like in your face. It's more like dry, subtle humor that you kind of pick up along the way.
And Owen Wilson is hilarious in this movie.
He's in a million of Wes Anderson films, too. Cool. It's a good choice. And
what's your movie recommendation?
My movie recommendation is Cashback. It's a British independent film that came out, I think it was like, originally it was a short film that was in like Sundance or Cannes, or Cannes, whatever you want to call it, one of the film festivals, major ones, and it won some awards. It was like a 15-minute short film, and then the director adapted it into a full feature, and it's really, really good. It's about it's a British film, so it's British people. It takes place in London, and it's about this art student who goes through a really bad breakup with his girlfriend. So he can't really handle it, so he decides that he's not going to sleep, and he pretty much becomes is it narcolepsy? No, I'm sorry, it's... What is it?
No, that's stealing.
Oh, what's the word when they don't sleep? I don't remember.
I have that right on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, I can't forget. But anyway, so he doesn't sleep for like 3 weeks, and he ends up taking a night shift at a grocery store in London, and pretty much he's an artist, so he draws everything he sees, and apparently, this is part of the film that I try to figure out. He says he can stop time, and what he does is he stops time and he draws.
Insomnia.
Insomnia, that's it. He has insomnia from the breakup. And so he draws pictures of all the beauty in the world that he can see in people.
Does he draw a picture of you?
No, but he draws a picture. If you like extreme amounts of gratuitous hot girl nudity, you'll like it. I mean, that's not the reason this movie's good. It's legitimately a very good movie, but I'm just warning if you easily... Yeah. If you easily get offended by female nudity, you may not like it, but you have to take it more as an art film than it is.
At least it's not as offensive as the female nudity in The Shining.
Right. It's not, or even in the Human Centipede.
Right.
Right. But it's very good. I highly recommend it.
Or in... Jack Nicholson loves doing movies with hot babes, like in About Schmidt with Kathy Bates.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
I did see About Schmidt. I saw that. That came out, like 2001, 2002?
Yeah. That
was a while ago. Yeah.
Later than that, I think.
I think I saw that movie not long after I saw the movie Signs. I saw both those movies in theaters, I think, around the same time.
Yeah.
Before we go, talk about a director. Speaking of Signs, M. Night Shyamalan. Has there been a more disappointing...
Yeah, a promising start.
He started out with, Sixth Sense, Unbreakable was a decent movie. Signs, I mean, it had flaws, but overall it was a good movie. And then he just released
The Village.
Crappy movie after crappy movie.
What was his most recent
The Lady in the Water, The Happening.
The Happening, yes.
I mean, he's just made some absolutely atrocious films, and people thought he'd be the next Spielberg, but he really hasn't made a good movie since Signs.
I can't argue with you on that.
Yeah, which is too bad because I really liked his work in the beginning. But anyways, that will close.
I'm thinking before we close the show.
Okay, yeah.
Do you listeners actually take our recommendations from books and movies, or do you just skip past that segment?
They take mine, probably not yours.
Okay, well,
they probably like Kurt Vonnegut.
Actually,
I hate Kurt Vonnegut.
You know what? I think we should do a poll if we can ever design a poll on who makes better recommendations.
Oh, it's easily.
I think you should send us in emails and let us know.
You're like, oh, Kurt Vonnegut, I'm so smart. Oh, I'm a thinking man. Oh, Kurt Vonnegut. Player Piano, Breakfast of Champions.
I didn't like Player Piano.
I don't care, because I haven't read any of them, and I never will. So, there you go.
Well, then, I guess that makes you a better man.
It does. I'd rather read George Orwell, actually, so.
Okay, I didn't make it through that book. It was a good book. What?
That's like, I feel like people who like Kurt Vonnegut books probably like the movie Requiem for a Dream, because that movie also ripped off the movie Trainspotting. Therefore, if you like Kurt Vonnegut, you probably like a lot of rip-off stuff.
Well, I'll have to find out.
Okay, so I'm sure you like a bunch of knockoff, rip-off things, John. So
I'll go watch Transmorphers and let you know.
touche. And Raptor Island. So
Yes.
So anyways, until next time, we will have a special guest on our next show. We probably will have our intern, Mike Bordelais. And I'm just warning you, he says ridiculous stuff, but he's not trying to say ridiculous stuff.
That's true.
He will say some funny things, I'm sure.
Well, we can only hope.
We can only hope. So I think our intern will be a guest on the show. We also may have Kevin Chaff may make an appearance.
That's true.
As well, one of our friends, Kevin, who
A different Kevin.
a different different Kevin. Kevin Chaff, you may not know him. He's a quite a funny guy. He knows a lot about music, movies, and sports, which we also like talking about.
Sports and girls.
He also enjoys girls. We gotta get more girl topics in here. We haven't had one in a while yet.
Well, we've talked about you a little bit.
Oh, thanks, John. So,
Anytime.
all right, thanks.
All right.
Anyways, well, I'm gonna go read some Kurt Vonnegut books and watch Transmorphers. So I'll see you later.
All right. This is Jon and Eric signing out. And as always, we'd like to thank you, our listener. We'd like to thank our sponsors. And we'd like to thank ourselves.
More than anything.
Oh, yeah. Without us, the show would not happen.
Yeah, screw you guys. We don't care about you. Screw the listeners.
In due time.
We are higher on the
In
food
due
chain
time.
than you listeners.
All right. On that note, bon voyage.
Au revoir.
Oh, pants down.